Hello, I am Tuệ An. Welcome to Insightful Journey. Today, we won't discuss distant matters. We will talk about the invisible power that controls your life, whether you admit it or not. Have you ever wondered, why do some people sent home by the hospital survive miraculously due to some profound belief? And conversely, why do some people with material wealth and sharp logic still have a hollow soul and collapse after just one setback? Is spiritual belief merely a painkiller for the weak, or is it a form of advanced technology of the mind that science is only now beginning to understand? The answer will startle you. Let me tell you about Min. Min is a software engineer, a CEO of a technology company, 38 years old. For Min, the world consists of lines of code. It is logic where 1 plus 1 equals 2. He was allergic to the smell of incense, hated the sound of temple bells, and always sneered when he saw his mother chanting every morning. Min often told his mother, "Mom, it's the 4.0 era. I don't see the Buddha anywhere. Only money and technology can solve problems." Min believed in data, in science, in what his eyes could see and ears could hear. Until one day, life knocked Min down hard. That was the day he received a diagnosis of early-stage cancer, simultaneously with the startup company he had invested all his capital in declaring bankruptcy due to a security flaw he had overlooked. His wife, the person he trusted the most, unable to handle the debt pressure, left divorce papers on the table. In just 24 hours, Min's world of logic collapsed. He sat in his luxury apartment, surrounded by the most modern technology, but his heart was cold. At this moment, logic couldn't save him. Data couldn't comfort him. Money, the thing he once revered, was now a negative number. That night, the pain struck. Not just physical pain, but extreme mental panic. Min reached for the sleeping pills, but then his eyes caught a tiny, worn wooden Buddha statue in the corner of the cabinet, something his mother had secretly put in his luggage when he moved out 10 years ago. For some reason, in his ultimate despair, he picked up the statue. He didn't pray to win the lottery or be instantly cured. He just buried his head, clutching the statue, and whispered, "If there is a power greater than me, please grant me some peace right now. I am so tired." And strangely, a feeling of calm crept into his heart. There was no thunderous miracle, only his breathing slowing down. His chaotic mind suddenly braked and stopped, like a car. That night was the first night in months that Min slept without medication. That was the moment Min realized, belief is not superstition. It is an anchor to prevent the boat from being swept away by the waves. Min's story shows us a naked truth. Science and spirituality are not in opposition. In fact, spiritual belief is the mechanism that activates the brain's most powerful self-healing abilities. You suffer not because life is harsh, but because you lack a spiritual anchor strong enough to cling to when worldly logic collapses. Belief, when rightly understood, is not blind begging. It is an infinite inner strength that helps you stand up when your legs are exhausted. But wait, what if I told you that even if you take a pill made of flour, but you believe it is a cure, your body still secretes the active ingredients for actual healing? Science calls that placebo. What does Buddhism call that? The secret is in the next section, and it will completely change how you view going to the temple or praying. The scientific perspective, placebo effect and brain structure. Let's talk about science first. Modern medicine recognizes the placebo effect. When a patient has absolute trust in the doctor and the treatment protocol, the brain signals the pituitary gland to release endorphins and dopamine, natural painkillers and sedatives many times stronger than morphine. Psychologically, when you have a spiritual belief, for example, believing in the protection of a bodhisattva, believing in the law of karma, your brain shifts from the fight or flight state extreme stress, to the rest and digest state, rest and recovery. When the mind is at peace, the immune system works most effectively. Thus, people with belief are not delusional. They are using a biotechnology to protect their own cells. The Buddhist perspective: faith, vigor, mindfulness, concentration, wisdom. In Buddhism, faith is the first step in the 5 spiritual faculties. But the Buddha did not teach us blind faith. He taught right faith, belief based on understanding and experience. Look back at Min's story. When he clutched the Buddha statue, the wooden statue itself didn't have magic powers. It was the very act of letting go of the arrogance of the ego and placing trust in something sacred that helped him stop the negative thought stream. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha taught, mind precedes all mental states. Mind is their chief. Mind creates them. When Min believed he was protected, his mind was at peace. When the mind is at peace, concentration, wisdom arises. Min started seeing that the cause of his failure was not bad luck, but his arrogance and lack of caution, karma. From there, he began his journey of self-correction. That is the path of transformation. Therefore, a correct spiritual belief is not believing in a God who grants blessings or inflict punishment. It is believing in the law of karma, believing in your own ability to change your destiny through correcting your actions and consciousness. That is a real source of strength, not an illusion. The danger of superstition, wrong faith. However, the boundary is very subtle. If you believe that offering a large feast will guarantee a lottery win, that is wrong faith. That is a contract, a transaction with the divine, not spiritual practice. That kind of belief only makes you weaker because you entrust your life to an external force. Right faith is trusting to return to the refuge within yourself, self-refuge. So how do you build a correct scientific spiritual belief that brings you serenity today? Tuệ An suggests 3 simple steps that anyone can do. Step 1. Establish a peace anchor. You don't need to become a monk to have peace. Choose a symbol, a small statue, prayer beads, or simply a nature photo. Whenever you are stressed, touch it, breathe deeply, and tell yourself, everything will be okay. When my mind is at peace, everything is at peace. This is how you hack your brain to activate the relaxation mechanism immediately. Step 2. Practice inward prayer. Instead of praying, please grant me wealth, please take away my suffering, change it to, please grant me the strength to overcome this difficulty. Please grant me the wisdom to see the way. When you pray for internal strength, your brain focuses on finding solutions instead of waiting for a miracle. Step 3. Live with faith in karma. Believe that everything happens for a reason. What you are enduring is the effect of some cause, and how you react today is the cause for tomorrow. This belief helps you stop complaining. When you stop complaining, you have the energy to create a new life. Dear friend Min, in the story, after 2 years, overcame his illness and rebuilt a small business. He didn't become a fanatic, but he kept the habit of silent contemplation every morning before the Buddha statue. He understood that the Buddha doesn't do things for him, but the Buddha is a lighthouse, showing him the way to steer. Spiritual belief is not an escape from reality. It is equipping yourself with a spiritual armor to walk through the storm without being scratched. Don't wait until you run out of hope to seek it. Build it now, from mindful breaths every day. You were not born to be weak. You already possess the Buddha nature, the seed of resilience. Nurture it with wise belief. Remember, I am still here if you need me.